It's been 7 years since I graduated from college, and in these 7 years, I've changed jobs 9 times. Yes, 9.
Hello, my name is Seven Chen. 4 months ago, I quit my job that I have been working at for 2 years without backup plan, with no next move. Then I started traveling like crazy. I went to Qingdao, Xinjiang, Guizhou, Beijing, Zhou. In Qingdao, I hiked up mountains and walked along the coast for hours. In Xinjiang, I crossed from the north all the way down to the south. In Beijing, I hiked the Great Wall under 38 degrees C heat. In Guizhou, I walked through ancient karst caves that were formed 220 million years ago. It looks like I was enjoying the freedom of the travel, but honestly, the whole journey felt more like a release of everything I had bottled up and worked, exhaustion, unfairness, and burnout, a release of the fear of being 30, the fear of aging, of being single, of not being established. I turned 30 in Xinjiang while I was traveling there. I didn't throw a party. I didn't even buy a cake. I just stayed in my hotel and watched horror movies. I think I was going through some sort of like the existential crisis. Whoa. The only thing that made me feel alive was constantly moving and watching horror movies. Seriously, I think I've watched all the horror movies in my life during that time. But things shifted a bit in June. I went on a trip with my parents and grandparents to Emei Mountain in Sichuan. Quick note, Emei Mountain is the name of the city, and Mount Emei is the mountain inside that city. Anyway, when I got there, I just feel this strange sense of peace. I don't know, maybe because it's one of the birthplaces of Buddhism in China, so the energy is just very calm. So I decided to move here and stayed for a month or two. I rented a 1-bedroom apartment with a balcony, 1,200 yuan a month, including internet and utilities. There are 2 vegetarian buffets near my place. I go there almost every day. One is 23 yuan per meal, and the other one is just 9.9, which is less than $2. I'm not vegetarian though, so sometimes I still crave meat and order takeout. Every other day, I go jogging in the nearby park. Sometimes I pass by these uncles and aunties dancing in the square, and I feel this warmth in my heart. There's a phrase in Chinese called 小确幸, which means small but certain happiness. I think I felt that 小确幸 at that time. I'm a big fan of stand-up comedies, so there's a bit by Jim Yang that stuck with me for years. It's a conversation between him and his father.
But then after I graduated, I didn't want to do like econ or finance. So I went up to my dad. I was like, Dad, I don't want to do any of this. I want to go try and do stand-up. And he was like, what's a stand-up? You mean like a talk show? I was like, yeah, sure, talk show, whatever you want to call it, okay? But I want to go pursue my dreams. And he was like, no. Pursue your dreams, how you become homeless. I was like, no, Dad, things are different now. We're in America, okay? In America, we're supposed to do what we love. He was like, no. Everyone does what they hate for money and use the money to do what they love.
At that time, I thought, yeah, that makes sense. But the older I get, the more I think, if you spend most of your waking hours doing something you hate, day after day, that's such a painful way to live. I think for our generation, millennials, Gen Z, we all kind of want to find meaning in a logic, structured way. We are influenced by celebrities, social media influencers. We watch their speeches, their stories, their ways of success. We listen to many podcasts. We read self-help books about how to be rich, how to be successful, how to change our lives. We watch hours of Casey Neistat, Ali Abudel, Dan Coy, and Mark Manson. I do too, and I always feel super inspired afterwards. But give it a few hours, a day at most, that inspiration just fades. Why? Because those aren't my answers. Real clarity comes not from consuming content, but from trying, from going through the process, struggling, choosing, reflecting, and through that, slowly understanding yourself. To be honest, I feel super lucky to be born in this timeline in a peaceful country where I don't have to worry about my safety or where my next meal will come from. And with the internet, I can see people around the world doing all sorts of different, maybe even weird jobs. It reminds me there are so many different ways to live.
Life finds a way.
On my way growing up, I constantly heard people say, "You have to follow your passion." That line used to stress me out so much because I had no idea what I was truly passionate about. I didn't even have a real hobby. But as I grew older, I started to realize passion isn't something you find, it's something you build. People think you have to be passionate about something first, then you turn it into a career. But for most of us, it's the other way around. You try things, you do them, and through the process, you start to feel something, energy, excitement, or maybe even joy. And that moment, you start to realize, oh, maybe this is my thing. Living in Emei Mountain gave me space to slow down and finally be with myself. I barely socialized. The only conversation I had over 10 minutes was when I gave some travel tips to an Italian couple at a restaurant. I'm really grateful that, unlike most Chinese parents, my parents never tried to control me. They've always supported my choices, don't urge me to get married, no interference with my life decisions. Like I've quit my jobs multiple times. I've worked in Manila, Philippines, in Shenzhen, in Chengdu, and traveled non-stop at 30, and now I'm hiding out in Emei Mountain like a hermit. Honestly, in China, not many parents would be okay with that. So yeah, I guess I'm just one of the lucky ones. Right now, I feel recharged and I'm ready to go back to the corporate world and be a good employee in my 9-to-5 job. I know it might sound depressing, but no, I like being a corporate. You know, to work with everybody else as a team and get a stable paycheck. It's just that I want to find a workplace that fits my vibe and align with my goals. And when I get enough experience, I might set up my own business. I'll probably document my job hunting process in my future videos. Honestly, I never plan to go full-time on YouTube because the competition on YouTube is much more intense than working at a company. So this is just a way for me to practice my English, to share and to document my life. And if you are still watching, thank you. If you have any thoughts, please leave it on the comments. I'd love to read it. See you next time.